闇貸しにするためにさらわれた人間なんだ。それをストマック家の父さんが。
What exactly did he do? You know what? Never mind. Forget I asked anything. We opened this week right from where we left off last, with Lakia fighting quote-unquote Shoma, though I should also probably put quotation marks around fighting, considering it was more of a curb stomp, with Lakia just needing to use his jolly custom to kind of literally mow through him. Still, impressive suit acting for Gavv, who had to fight the Invisible Man and make it look legit. That takes talent. However, Hanto interrupted the finishing blow for reasons that we'd see play out throughout this episode. Part of them might have been because he wanted to try and figure out why Lakia would attack someone who seemed like his ally.
Shomaと手組んだんじゃねえのかよ。
Huh? Shoma?
What, do you think we all just look alike or something, huh? But yeah, on top of not seeing Bitter Gavv untransformed, it's likely that Grand Newts can instinctively tell each other apart based on their Gavv stomachs, so he might not have even noticed his opponent's passing resemblance to Shoma's rider form. Speaking of who, we learned what had happened to him after he passed out, and more importantly, why. Both of which were handled by Grunkle Dente, who need to perform an emergency surgery after learning about him from the Gochizos.
腹にごちそうが詰まっとったんじゃ。この手で書き出して。
So, you performed a C-section on your nephew. Well, it is 2025. But yeah, as it turned out, I was wrong. What else is new? As he actually did produce a Macaron Gochizo, but because he was stressing at the time from all the stuff with Hanto, he essentially got constipated and nothing came out. You know, it's just starting to hit me, but this show is kind of weird. Also, it may not be purple, but hey, at least it matches up with the VA's other more iconic role. But yeah, Shoma also realized that his Grunkle had gone out to save him in spite of not having a disguised USB like his siblings. Thus, he tried to check if anything about TMNT cosplayers was trending, but instead ended up learning about his clone's machinations. Word of this, of course, also spread to a social bug like Sachika, and thus you'd think she wouldn't trust Shoma, but then you remember this is Sachika we're talking about. In fact, she'd get more upset at Tattletales.
たらショーマの話だ。俺じゃねえ。
口的にはむしろハンティの顔見たくないっす。
なんでだよ。
Well, this is just what happens when you sell out your soul to CNN. But yeah, in our best girl moment for her, even though she doesn't have much competition, she called out Hanto on his assholery. Like sure, there was plenty of evidence that seemed to point towards Shoma's wrongdoings, but for them, there was just as much, if not more, contradictory evidence, which deep down, Hanto actually wanted to believe in more. I mean, if anything, at least the real deal knows how to use a napkin. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised he didn't just eat that chicken bone. The next day, Shoma decided to investigate where the clone had attacked, and understandably, he was getting some dirty looks from everyone. However, he at least got some assurance from Sachika, who, while admittedly being a little naive by already saying that it was just an evil clone, it was still nice to see her believe in him. And speaking of whom, he decided to have a little snack through delivery, though I'm not talking about Uber Eats. Dude, I don't think you're eating that stuff quite right. At the same time, Lockheed also managed to put together the whole evil clone thing, though at least he knew of a certain mad scientist who could have pulled it off in Nival. Thus, he wanted to confront him over this, and figured that Suka could help him with that, ironically not realizing that Dark Shoma's creator was a lot closer than he realized. Though he did seem to spot all of the other red flags that this guy was raising with how many lies and secrets he was stockpiling. That said, I do totally believe this statement out of him.
俺は誰の味方でもないよ。ただ自分の興味あるものをひたすら研究。
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
Back with our heroes, and in spite of finding Shoma at his clone's crime scene, MVP Sachika had managed to convince Hanto to try and talk things out with him again.
この前は悪かったわ。いきなり殴ったりして。
Oh, don't worry. I hear he actually enjoys that stuff. You think I'm kidding?
でもなんかハントのパンチ受け入れてすごい気持ちよかったです。
But yeah, Shoma finally shared his backstory with him, especially in regards to Martha, I mean his mother. And as usual, it was sad stuff, but I really like some of these shots that he managed to get from this building. Like just the fact that they managed to shoot this scene with just the right natural lighting without being blinding but still beautiful was quite an accomplishment. Moreover, it really helped to get across the somber atmosphere of the scene as the two riders aired out their stuff. In particular, Honto managed to put together that he had let his grand new prejudice make it all but impossible for Shoma to say anything really.
悪かった本当にごめん
I mean, what else can I really say other than this is a really great scene in which the characters are actually being smart and organically realizing their own mistakes and owning up to them. As I said, my biggest issue with lie-revealed stories is that they often involve characters acting in stupid and irrational ways. Yeah, y'all should totally distrust Flick for lying when y'all lied to him first and sent him on what you thought was a hopeless and maybe even suicidal mission. Is it bad that I kind of wanted Kevin Spacey to win? But yeah, this is not only really damn wholesome, but also a great showing for both writers for not fully succumbing to stale tropes and even taking advantage of them to progress the story effectively. With that though, there is still the little issue of Edgy McEdgington.
君ダメだよ
This is what most nuisance streamers wish they could do, but realize they can't with their noodle arms that could even knock down a trash can, i.e. their superiors. But yeah, he finally managed to make another evil Gochizo by consuming brown sugar hard candies, which yeah, I didn't know were a thing either until I did my research. However, like the Gochizos that his original was starting to stockpile, he wouldn't use it when he fought the heroic riders this week. Still, it was a really fun three-way with Bitter Gavv really getting over his insane fighting style. I especially like this little bit where he feinted out Shoma with his sword and struck his legs instead. It showed that while his fighting style was sloppy and unrefined to say the least, the fact was that he also fought dirty and was on a constant sugar rush that made him a deadly opponent. Also, jeez, this poor Gochizo. I mean, I know they happily give up their lives when being consumed by Shoma, but I don't think anyone likes to just go to hell. However, the heroic riders managed to get the upper hand by switching to their baked good forms. So, I guess you could say they're making cake donuts. Oh, come on, they're tastier than the average donut. And in the end, a double candy attack won the day, though not without Shoma almost falling into a canal. Fortunately, Honto saved him, but not before triggering memories in regards to the Chocolate Rider's mom, as she seemed to help a young Shoma escape, only to have Toshiki Inoue take over riding and drop her into a river. But yeah, the episode ended with Shoma still being in a truth-telling mood and deciding to tell Honto what he had remembered about his mother. At this point, I'm kind of not surprised when the show manages to avert some tired tropes. It kind of goes to show what happens when you choose to write characters as people first, which I'm all for. Not to say that the show doesn't have a few over-the-top characters, as Dark Shoma remains entertainingly edgy. I think at this point, I'd more than happily put Shoma and Honto in the top tier of my favorite Kamen Rider pairings, as in heroes, though you can certainly do it the other way too. Okay, but seriously, I like how this duo actually bothered to communicate with each other, rather than just try to force some sort of tired rivalry, which wouldn't even really work in the sort of alien invasion story, but I'm sure other writers would try and incorporate it somehow. But yeah, I just appreciate the fact that we actually got a healthy rider relationship in this show that can and will lead to further interesting developments now that Shoma is remembering what happened to Honto's mother. Also, low-key kudos to Sachika for facilitating this whole resolution. Though at the same time, we still do have antagonistic writers like Dark Shoma, who's just plain entertaining with the actor just going full ham with his overacting. The fact that he managed to hold his own in a 2-on-1 prevents him from being a jobber just yet, plus if anything, his bizarre fighting style is a hoot to watch. It'll be interesting to see what more he can bring, along with Lakia, who did take a bit of a backseat this week, but is seemingly getting close to the truth in regards to the clone. And overall, this is just a really good episode that was really made by the relationship of the main writers of the show. These two deserve all the cake and donuts for both being good friends and sparing us from any needless melodrama. Thank you for watching, and if you want to be a friend, maybe you could do us a favor and check out a few of the other videos on this channel. We've got to a lot of new subs recently thanks to the new shows that we've been covering, and we'll continue to do so, at least until this season is over. Look forward to whatever comes next, and until then though, fair for now my fans, and have you ever actually tried to eat one of these hard candies without sucking on it first? Yeah, don't try it.